Hello everyone, Heartfulness Wellness welcomes you to World Food Day webinar. World Food Day is an international day celebrated every year worldwide on 16th of October to commemorate the date of the founding of United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization in 1945. The main principle of the World Food Day is the furtherance of food security all over the globe, especially in the times of crisis. The launch of the Food and Agricultural Organization by the UN has played a huge role in taking this worthy goal forward. Today, we have three speakers with us. Our first speaker is Mr. Niroop Prabhakar. Mr. Niroop Prabhakar owns and runs the restaurant 615 ChuTNey in Nashville. 615 ChuTNey started off as the only Indian food truck serving vegetarian, vegan, and gluten free South Indian food. His goal has always been to bring South Indian cuisine to the US. He believes that customer service is the key, and the voices of the customers as well as the employees always matters to him. Mr. Niroop, along with Kesar Govindan of Cafe India, owns and operates Kaloriville, located within the Mesa Komal Cafe space in the Curb Center of Belmont University, and deriving its name from the southern India and Sri Lankan language Tamil, with Kalluri meaning college. So, welcome, Mr. Niroop. Please, could you share with us your journey from India to US? You know, a top restaurant is one which not only fills a hungry stomach, but fills the hearts of the customers. The way you connect with your customers with your service is very fascinating. Can you please share what inspired you to reduce the number of seats, bring the quality instead of quantity, and your journey from India to US?
Thank you, Heartfulness, and thanks, Divya, for having me on the show. It's an honor to be here and to talk about the World Food Day. My dad always used to say, you can live without anything, but you cannot live without food. So that was one thing that inspired me to get into this noble art of serving food and serving food to people, and also, getting good food accessible to each and everybody. So the journey of my food business or food thoughts or food, expedition, let me put it, started off with just, meeting family and eating food like a feast, and sharing love and affection with all the cousins and uncles and aunts, being fed and all that stuff. So but at the end of the day, I wanted to make sure that food is being served with love, and and a hope that tomorrow it's going to be a better day. So the journey starts off in Tamil Nadu. Of course, I'm from Tamil Nadu, born and raised in Tamil Nadu, and then I happened to move to the United States in 2008, and then ended up in a place called in a state called Tennessee. So, fortunately or unfortunately, both the states have the same initials, TN, and then ChuTNey was born.
Yes.
So the main goal, like I always had been talking about, saying that we want to give authentic South Indian food to the southern part of the country, and also give it in a special way where you have good customer service, you empathize with your customers, and also make sure that your employees are happy when you're serving the food. So the journey started off as a food truck, like you always said, and I was the only one serving vegetarian, vegan, and gluten-free food, which is nothing but the basic of South Indian cuisine. Idlis, dosas, and vadas and pongals. These are nothing but just vegetarian, vegan, and gluten-free food. And with gluten-free being the next, the future of food, so I was able to align my product along with whatever the customers or guests wanted or patrons wanted. So that helped me really well. And then we started off as a brick and mortar in 2019. Did that for about a couple of years when with a tornado which hit the area, as well as COVID. Of course, we all know COVID. And then, yeah, COVID helped us think out of the box a lot. So that is when I moved from my original location to a different location, I reduced the number of seats, made sure that I was able to accommodate as many number of guests as possible, but at the same time also give individual time talking to everybody and involving our lives together. Business is all about relationships, and when it comes to the food business, hospitality is key. In Tamil we say it virundombal, and Southern hospitality is in our DNA, is in the south of India. And when I am in the south of United States right now, so I feel at home by just doing Southern hospitality and giving Southern hospitality. Of late, yes, hospitality in the hospitality industry has become zero. So we have to revive that back. There's a reason why I connect with guests who come and eat in my restaurant. So we've reduced the seats. So this way, I can give ample time talking to everybody at the table. Every guest is individually known. Yes, it's difficult to remember a person by his or her name, but each and every employee of my restaurant knows each and every one who walks into the restaurant. And we always believe that everybody who walks into the restaurant is a celebrity. Okay, so everybody needs to be given equal status, equal standards, and everybody eats the same food. It's not that, okay, somebody eats food with gold and somebody eats food with on an aluminum platter or something like that. So, so the goal for 615 ChuTNey was to make sure that everybody has food accessible and has food which is good, which is accessible, and in the process, serve them with love.
Beautiful, beautiful concept.
Thank
It's
you.
the heart of Indian culture, where we say Atithi Devo Bhava, where
Exactly.
we put our heart. So what we give to eat is also important, but equally it is important how we present it and how we give the food for them to eat. Lovely.
Absolutely.
So, coming back to the article that I had read about you in Nashville Voyager, you had mentioned do good as much as you can. If you can't do good, then at least don't do bad. Your father usually had given this as an advice to you, right?
Yes.
Running, running a restaurant for the masses is a challenging task. Starting from production, processing, distribution, consumption, the whole entire food supply chain. It applies both ways for restaurants as well as households. But how do you manage and maintain your food supply, in that part of the world?
Yeah, my dad always said that line. I don't know for what reason he used to say that, but that kind of went deep into my heart and mind, and that anything I do, I make sure that there is a good that is the outcome, or even if someone is upset at the restaurant or at the food, just don't say anything bad to them. Okay, everybody has a different situation. Everybody cannot be in the same situation as you are in. So my dad, being a banker, he had always said one word. He used to use this one word a lot: empathize. You put yourself in their shoes and see what they are going through. Okay, in spite of whatever they are going through, they have taken their time to drive to your restaurant. Okay, they've looked at your restaurant at least 10 times. They would have heard about you, a million times. Okay, and they've seen your pictures, and when you're giving food that they can cook at home, what makes your restaurant stand out? What makes your food different? So that is when, I realized that customer service is key. And then, whoever comes in whatever situation they are in, make sure that you do the best of your ability and make sure that they eat and they have a good time and they spend with a smile. So, in order to do this, we need good ingredients, good chefs, and a good environment for employees to work in. So it is not easy. Just, you can source great ingredients, but when your chef is going to be upset and angry with at the boss or another customer or another guest who says, "Oh, my chicken chettinad is too spicy," you know, and then when the food comes back into the kitchen, the cook or the chef should make sure that he also says, "Oh, I'm sorry, let me make another one for them." That's what it is. It's all about a give and take. So when my dad said do good as much as you can, uh and if you cannot do good, then don't do bad, is this. Okay, it's just a classic example is the chicken chettinad. When it comes back into the kitchen, my chef can be upset saying, "Come on, this is not even spicy for me. Why aren't they doing it?"
Yes.
Okay, and that kind of gives you a snowball effect of, okay, do bad, do bad, do bad. So when will you fix it? So any wrong that happens has to be fixed right away. So for that, the environment has to be good, the ingredients have to be good. The chef is going to say, okay, fine, hey, this cardamom that I got from this store has been dry, it looks white. So of course, well, I'm going to cook with this, and this is how it's going to turn out to be. So it is a game where everybody wants to win, but no one wins when you don't empathize. So having said that, so now sourcing of ingredients is happening directly from India. I found an importer out of Atlanta. So they import it really quick. So which means if anything is harvested, they guarantee that it is here at least in a month's time, so that it's not wasted and it's not sitting on shelves. It is fresh, of course, and it shows in the food when you eat, even at home or in a restaurant or any other place, takeout place or whatever. So if the ingredients are not going to be fresh, done, food is gone. So then comes your chef's cooking with love. So now the process is making sure that everybody who's working is happy and they're enjoying what they do. So when you love what you do, then you will end up doing what you love,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely agree. Absolutely.
So that is number two. So when this is going to happen as an employer or a boss or even as a manager, the person is going to be very excited saying, "Oh, my guests are enjoying the food. Okay, my cooks are cooking better food. So what is the point of me having a long face and say serving food is being in a sad way?" So now that is the snowball effect, which says, okay, fine. Now everybody's happy. So a waiter or wait staff or a server is going to be happy to serve somebody. And when it's ethnic food, and looking at the guests' experience and their reactions, it'll make your staff want to eat that food too.
Yes.
Otherwise, otherwise staff outside may or may not even eat the food in the restaurant because they'll say, "Oh, it's just restaurant food." So the bottom line, what I'm trying to say is, when we give food, give it from your heart. Okay, every guest or a patron is not a dollar sign.
Yes.
They are your family. So food is the only way you can connect to somebody in a way, and you can make them laugh, feel happy, elated, light, and then when they walk out of your restaurant, they need to talk about the entire experience,
Yes.
not just the food or the server, or for that matter, in my restaurant, I even have a robot which serves food.
Oh, that is really new.
Yeah, thank you. So, the pandemic helped us think out of the box and all that stuff. So I just had added the robot in my restaurant.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
That brings in the AI, aspect
That brings
along
in
with
the AI.
the service.
Yeah.
So I
Mm-hmm.
just love the way you have factored in making everybody feel at home, and
Mm-hmm.
loved when they are coming to share their special moments. And as you rightly put, they drive all the way, they spend money on the fuel, they come to your restaurant, and then they eat.
Right.
So one last thing I would want to put it across for the audience. On this particular day, World Food Day, what is that
Mm-hmm.
one thing that you would like to share with our audience, a takeaway that you would want to give it to all of us?
One thing that comes to my mind right away as part of World Food Day is making sure food is available to each and everybody. You know, we we talk about affordability. We talk about affordability here in United States. That everybody can afford food. Okay, if they cannot afford an ethnic food, an exotic food like Indian food, which is costing probably $25-$30 per plate, but still nobody goes to bed without food.
Yes.
Affordability. So even a McDonald's is available.
Mm-hmm.
A
Yes.
burger is available for $1 or something, like hash browns or some potato patties are available for somebody in every walk of life. That is what we need to do. Make food available and accessible.
Hmm.
And the bottom line where I would say this one line is never pay extra for good food. That is what World Food Day should be all about. There is no point saying that, oh, this is good food, so I have to pay that extra dollar to get it. So it's all about quality and quantity and not just quantity and
Yes.
price. Yes,
Thank you so much, Mr. Niroop, for taking your
absolutely.
time and spending it with us, and
Thank you.
lovely wisdom, words of wisdom sharing with all of us and our audience over here. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to join you today.
Now we welcome our second speaker, Mr. Vijay Sadhu. Executive Chef Vijay was born in India, graduated from the National Business Management College in Sydney, Australia, then cooked in Thailand, New York, and currently he is in Dallas, Texas. Mr. Vijay Sadhu is a self made person. He started working as an apprentice for some of the big hotel chains. After getting an opportunity to go to US at the age of 18, he ended up in Manhattan. From there, he started working for the best restaurants. His samosas and chutneys topped celebrity Bobby Flay's show, Beat Bobby Flay, and he has appeared on the Food Network Cutthroat Kitchen. Welcome, Vijay Sadhu. Mr. Vijay, we have heard amazing stories about your cookery and the dishes in Kanha Shantivanam. We have had your presence here from last year and a half, 2 years. So my first question for you would be, your culinary works are remarkable and you have made a mark in this field. We would like to know if you could share with us a bit about your background and what inspired you to become a chef. Could you please unmute, sir?
Yeah, thank you for giving me this opportunity to be with you guys and this wonderful webinar. Yeah, it's great question. You know, I can say the fragrance, the aroma, the flavors, that's what inspired me to be a chef. And I don't know anything else. You know, I think that is the only thing which I was born for, and and that is the only thing which I really, really like to do, and you know, to feed people and you know, make them happy and give them something good, and that's what all I always wanted to be. And then I said, I think that's the best thing is to be a chef. And so, you know, basically these are the things which really inspired me: the flavors, the aroma, the texture, the fragrance of all the spices, and you know, that's what inspired me. Yeah.
Awesome. So the passion that you have in cooking and feeding, the joy you get, at a very young age, you decided that you wanted to be a chef. Was there any particular incident or anything that brought you there?
um, yeah, actually, you know, I grew up in a very, you know, I can say educated upper middle class family, and you know, very spiritually involved in spirituality and other things. But you know, I was totally different. I never worried, or I never cared for anything. You know, from day one, I just happy go happy guy. And but you know, I used to go to restaurants, and then I just loved it. I don't know why. It's food is something, it's in me, I guess. I, like I said earlier, you know, I'm born to be a chef, you know, and at a very young age, you know, everybody have their own story. Oh, my grandma cooking, my mom's cooking, and you know, I think I was just born with these skills, I guess. You know, and
Awesome.
I never did anything else, you know, and all I know is the beautiful, you know, Mother Nature gifted the vegetables, and there's all these wonderful ingredients, and you know, cook them with lots of love and lots of compassion and mercy, and you know, have those qualities and serve them. I think these are the things inspired me to be a chef who I am today, you know.
Amazing, amazing. So there would have been a unique culinary secret that had a significant influence on your cooking style, you know. In your previous interviews, you have mentioned heartful cooking. So what could you please throw some light? What is heartful cooking, and what are the few tips that you would give to all of us and the audience here?
Sure, that's a very good question. Um, I've been cooking for almost for a long time now. I don't know the numbers, but I have seen the difference since past, you know, 7, 8 years probably,
Mhm.
when I got into the heartfulness and how I was before versus how I am now. I'm talking about cooking, you
Right.
know. Before it was more a passion, you know, and then there's a lot of ego and a lot of anger because, you know, I'm an artist, you know, I want the food to be perfect. You know, we have a saying in the kitchen, you know, when the plate goes out of the kitchen to the dining room, it should never come back, you know, with anything left on it. It has to be empty
Wiped out. Yeah.
because we work hard. We really work hard in the
Yeah.
kitchen. And but the secret weapon for me is heartfulness. You know, it really, really um, helped me a lot in terms of not just calmness, coolness, but also to be focused on what I'm doing, and also to play with the ingredients, to know the fragrance of the ingredients, to know the depth of the ingredients, because Mother Nature has created all these beautiful, wonderful ingredients, like you name it, vegetables, herbs, and fruits, and flowers, and leaves, and different kinds of you have soft leaves, you have hard leaves, and and then also we have such a great palate to get all these wonderful flavors, right? I mean, I didn't know these things. Okay, I was a chef, I cook, I serve, people eat, yada, 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 enjoy, blah, blah, and go home. But after coming into this, it's not only helping me, the heartfulness meditation, it is also when I'm cooking, people who are enjoying that meal, even I can see they feel good. Let's put it that way. Okay, because now a simple thing, because the life force, which is everywhere, which is in you, and we all know that it's in vegetables and it is in plants and all this. So with the help of heartfulness, I sense that, and then I have like, oh, there's a life force in this, which is helping us, and it gives energy and taste and all this good stuff, what we need. So yes, the heartfulness is the biggest weapon I use in my cooking. That's why I'll call it a heartful cooking. In fact, we did a couple of webinars in the past, and we would like to do in the future. And also, like you all know that I do the live cookings and Kanha, It's just because I wanted to, it's not we're talking about the food there, it is also we're talking about how and what condition we are cooking the food.
Right.
All those beautiful elements of heartfulness, which I would like to implement in my cooking.
Thank you so much. It is very beautiful to know the journey that you have taken from monotonous physical cooking to heartful cooking through heartfulness practice. It is really lovely. So the last question I would like to ask you would be, on this day, World Food Day, Mr. Vijay, what is that one message that you would like to give it to our audience and all of us?
Sure, definitely don't waste food. I will tell you, it's easy to waste food. I myself, I'm an example, and then I corrected myself. It's better not to waste food, or or if you want to throw it, if it's become really bad, just use it as a compost or something. Which is, I think it's much better, right? So don't waste food, don't waste water. There are a lot of people, they don't have these things, and in fact, I live in US, and then when I come to India, when I see, even in Kanha, it is not easy. It's not easy. People do need, and I still see people waste water. And, I request them not to waste food and water.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Sadhu. Moving on to our third speaker, World Food Day 2023 actually focuses on the theme, water is life, water is food, leave no one behind. So here, the theme aims the highlights of the critical role of water for life of Earth and water as foundation of our own food. Here I introduce Mr. Gangadhar. Mr. Gangadhar, among professional circles, is known as Ganges Reddy, is an environmental sustainability expert and is the CEO and co-founder of BlueDrop Environment Private Limited. A mechanical engineer by education, he has over 22 years of IT experience. He worked overseas in US in the field of information technology. He believes in personal transformation through meditation and has a heartfulness meditator over 2 decades. He has also been a heartfulness trainer and a mentor since 2012. He has spent significant time and efforts in bringing awareness across India towards natural and sustainable wastewater treatment technologies among the government as well as the private sectors as well as in addressing social issues like polluted lakes and nalas. Welcome, Mr. Ganges. My first question for you is, from growing the plant to bringing the food on the table, farm to table, water takes part in every process of, preparing the food. Will you be able to share with us the ways of using the water better, which would in turn help people to make significant change in their lifestyle in regards to food and water nexus?
Thank you, Divya, for your gracious introduction and also a very relevant question for the theme of the World Food Day this year, the food and the water. The nexus is the right word because there is a series of connection between the water and the food. Let me ask you a question. If you are a family of, say, 3 members, and primarily if you say you're a roti eater or a rice eater, what do you think will be your weekly consumption of rice? Just a guess. How many kgs in a week?
About 1.5 kgs.
1.5 kg. Okay. Now the question goes to you. So to cook this 1.5 kg of rice, how much water do you use approximately?
2.5 times.
2.5 times. So 1.5 kg, 2.5 times water. So that's roughly about 4 liters, let's say. That's the amount of water that you see that you're using to cook these grains to become a rice that you can eat. But do you have any clue how much water does it take to produce that rice to come to your kitchen? Any guess for a kg of rice? Wild guess.
I would say 6 or 7 times more, maybe.
You are not so correct. About 2,500 liters.
Wow.
To get a kg of rice to the kitchen. And we are not talking about anything else, just about the water. Then the rice is produced somewhere, it gets transported, processed, and then it reaches. So we are using huge amount of other resources for this food to reach our table.
Yes.
Then you invest your time, water to cook it, serve it, whatever. Similarly, a kg of beef takes about 15,000 liters.
Wow.
You get a kg of beef. You go to apples, it's about 600, 700 liters. And bananas is similar, 800 liters. These are all per kg. So to get a kg of that raw material, it's taking huge amounts of water backwards. Now imagine the importance of, when Vijay said, it is so relevant from many angles that do not waste food. It's not about just wasting food. It's about the colossal amount of efforts that go behind and natural resources that are deployed behind this food to come to this stage by getting processed and being served in our households or in restaurants. So in conducting, when you talk about lifestyle and food related to water, it's an urge that today in India, 70% of the water resources are going towards agriculture, more than 70%. So all this water conservation that we are talking about, minimizing consumption, bathrooms, showers, this and that, all of that really contributes significantly, but on a scale of agriculture produce that is taking water, it's minuscule, which means that all of us have a greater responsibility towards the food and optimizing our the food resources to be able to see a better water security. It is there are 3 different kinds of water that typically we use. One is the blue water that is available in the rivers, lakes and water bodies and oceans. This is blue water that is there stored. And there is green water. Green water is that is there in the soil that actually these plants take. But majority of the crops, we don't just depend on green water. We actually get the blue water, pump it and distribute through various channels to reach the soil so that the plants can absorb. And the third category of water we are compelled to use today is the gray water. This is already used. And that's where I keep telling the people that all of us, most of us as citizens of the world, enjoy the beginning of the tap water, that you turn on the tap, you get water merrily.
Yes.
And because of my profession now that I chose, moving from IT to environment, I deal with the end of the pipe issues. So I see all kinds of stuff I see the impact of what a good water that we used and how it ends up, and then what are the further, dominant effects on the environment if we don't handle it well. So, in a nutshell, there is quite a bit of emphasis that eat as much as you want, but certainly conserve that portion of food that you can conserve, keeping in mind that food is not food. It is huge amounts of water behind each item of food that we intake today.
True. So true. So true. Each and every drop counts in
It does. Here, each and every pint of food counts.
Yes. So that leads to my second question to you, Mr. Ganges. One small step of a man can become a giant leap for mankind. We generally dispose of the used water in our homes, which mostly goes to the gutter. You have been working with the nature-based solutions for wastewater treatments. Could you please share some insights on how we can play a better role while operating our kitchens?
Yeah, it's a very valid question, good question. So we dealt with how the food comes to the table, what it takes in terms of water. Now, once you use the water, what happens to this water? So I have actually deployed a solution for one of the mega kitchens where they cook for 22,000 people. And when you see the water that's coming, you find all kinds of things. And a lot of oil being poured into these drains. Typically this is for the awareness of the entire public, whoever is watching. It's very critical for us to understand that each of our activity has a dominant effect on the post of that activity. The pipelines that we laid in our kitchens and the pipelines that are laid from our households to the treatment areas or the municipal corporation, all these are meant to carry wastewater. There are separate lines to bring the drinking water, but these wastewater lines are meant to serve different purposes. And there is a huge amount of effort from various organizations, companies, maintenance people in managing this wastewater that goes out of our households or our institutions, wherever we using the water. Especially when it comes to kitchens, when I refer to the other case of a mega kitchen, if there is a bachawa food, the food left over, if the team that is working in the kitchen, they do not take that little effort in separating the liquid from the solid and dump it into the gutter, imagine the chaos that it creates in the entire pipeline and what happens to those manholes. And the entire pumping system that goes for a toss. And this happens on a daily basis. Today in Hyderabad, if you see one of the prominent areas of old times, Begumpet, there are a huge number of restaurants, small mom and pop shops. They do not have disposal mechanisms. Or even in the households, when I come back to a household also, if we are responsible in separating the solids that potentially can be removed in the sink before we dispose them off into a drainage line, it would serve a greater purpose for our own community, for our own infrastructure that we create to carry this wastewater to the treatment facilities. What happens at the treatment facilities, we have seen it. It's terrible. Right. The kind of things that you find in the wastewater treatment, you're supposed to see the fecal matter, the food, etc., whatever, dirty water. But you see all kinds of solid waste ending up in these places, which cannot be digested. They have to be segregated, again taken down to solid waste. So request is that, when you specifically ask about how do we manage all the people that deal with kitchens, whether household, the mothers, wives and daughters, or the chefs, and anybody who's a support staff, kindly, separate whatever you can separate. And oil and drainage lines are not meant for disposal of oil. Oil is a reusable resource that it may not be good for cooking, but a lot of people use it as a lubricant. Preserve oil if you can. And if at a household, if you cannot do it, but you can always do it at a community level, that you can segregate these things. So being cognizant of disposal methods, mechanisms, and mixing of, like solid waste, we talk about separate the plastic from food.
Wet waste as well.
If such practices are put in place, I'm sure it will ease out the end of the pipe challenges and help us in preserving our infrastructure and managing our lives better at a lower cost. Everything will add to the cost finally.
True. Thank you so much for this insight, because usually, as you rightly had put it in the beginning, that We get the fresh water, we get the clean water. We don't think about the other end, what exactly happens or goes on over there. So this brings me to my last question to you, Mr. Ganges, which is, on this World Food Day, what is that one thing that you would like to share with all of us and the audience over here, which is something that you are passionate about, the water?
I mean, it's a very vivid, clear situation that we are running into climate challenge day by day. It's a significant challenge that is affecting the crops, affecting the availability of food. So it's very important at a citizen level that all of us show some level of interest in understanding what impacts what, and how we can make slight adjustments in the way we conduct ourselves that contributes to the greater good of the humanity. Any kind of material that we use has a water footprint, has an impact on the environment. So I would not say that everybody go minimalistic approach in life, but like our great master Babaji has said, take as much as you need, use any material as much as you need. One jeans that you throw, just like that I get a new model of jean, will cost some 2,000 liters of water. The number may be inaccurate, but imagine every product that comes to our household and get disposed without being fully utilized, or because we can afford. Nature doesn't have unlimited resources. So my share of thought on this World Food Day is that conserve everything that you can, that is in the material form, which is going through several rounds of processing, consuming huge amount of natural resources, which in the next decade we are going to find scanty, and we will end up struggling. The national economy is hit to the tune of 6 to 7%. Just the GDP can be affected to 6 to 7% just because of the availability of the water. So water is not free. We may be getting the water free, but it's absolutely not free. It's a limited resource. We all have to exercise care. Otherwise, next generation, our kids, may find it very, very difficult, which is not just a good thing to say, but it's a real thing that we are seeing as of today.
Yes, thank you so much for all the insights, Mr. Ganges. So we wrap our webinar over here. I thank all the three speakers for such an amazing insights. Mr. Niroop had talked about beautiful love and relationship being important along with serving food. Mr. Vijay Sadhu talked beautifully about the heartful eating and how that impacts the products, what you serve at the end of the day with your heartful heart. And Mr. Ganges has covered the importance of water and how it is not a need anymore. It is a vital necessity that we take up this role and conserve the water. So here we wrap. Thank all one and all again for joining us. Have a great day.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Vijay, for your insights on this, and we hope to meet again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.